All right. Ladies and gentlemen. Hey, babe. Can you see, make sure the audio is coming through on the live I just started? All right, I appreciate you. No, it's on Facebook. I can't go live on YouTube yet. Yeah, I just want to... It's good. It doesn't sound good? All right, because we got the new little speaker here. And we'll see how this goes, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. It's all good? Cool. Thanks, babe. I appreciate you. Appreciate you very much. People probably like, why are you here, Kaylin? I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to do. I really don't. But whatever has to be said is going to get said. And whoever is attracted to listen will... Let me see. I can't see what she said. She said, yeah, it's good. Cool. All right. Well, let's just jump into it. Whoever comes. But, man, this is crazy, right? Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Kaylin Evans coming to you live. I got just some random thoughts, man. These aren't even really random thoughts. They're very pointed thoughts. And honestly, I've been really thinking about whether I wanted to keep talking about this stuff because I honestly think we're kind of too far gone. I was sleeping for far too long, and even before me, it seems like this stuff was set up to happen for a while here. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, what's up? I hope everybody's doing well out there. We're going to talk about why I think that America is becoming a communist country. Okay, and it's so funny because I'm actually going to share something here in a moment about, it was a post, it was a random post. I had already typed up the title to this live, and I was waiting for my phone to charge up a little bit more, and I ran into this post, but I also have some points, through my research and the things that I found that have led us to this point. Long story short, I do think that America is becoming a socialist, aka communist country. Some of the reasons why I think about that is, we can start with one place. We can start with the money, okay? So you start with the money, and this goes back into the 60s and 70s when President Nixon took us off of the gold standard, and we're experiencing what we're experiencing right now in regards to inflation, okay? The prices of things, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't naturally just go up. That's not how it works. Unless there's a supply shortage, okay? Because when supply is low, it causes price to rise. But that's not what's going on right now. What's going on right now is our actual currency is being inflated, which means that there's a larger quantity of our currency, okay, in the system, which devalues everybody's money. And the perfect way to get people to understand this and how it's affecting our lives is to just go back in American history. So initially, America has been one of the most prosperous countries in world history, okay? So prosperous, in fact, that in the beginning, it was only required that one person had to work in a family of four, and they could own a house, they could own a car, they can go on moderate, decent vacations, maybe not flying across the country, but they can go on a road trip and things like that, right? And they can afford a good life for their family, okay? Now with that said, if you noticed, it went from one person needing to be the breadwinner to two. And this happened in the 60s, in the 70s, actually. It happened in the 70s, actually, right after they took us off the gold standard, because we went into a period of very high inflation in the 70s into the 80s, okay, which is actually what's starting right now, which is what I've been trying to warn people about, but we're not going to talk about that right now. The reason why this is so important is because it's all purposeful. They know what the results of government overspending are. These are our politicians. These are our leaders. Right? This country is supposed to be for the people, by the people. For the people, by the people. Not for the government, because that's what's going on right now. it really sucks too, because it seems like when I was living that ratchet lifestyle, my audience was massive. It's so crazy. Anyway, it seems like our government, they keep spending. What are they spending on? They're spending on war. Okay, they're spending on spending on different ways. Baby, go by me. Go by mommy. You hear mommy? You hear mommy? Go by mommy. Come on. My bad. The little baby came in there, so we had to get her out of here because I'm trying to focus right now. So we got the overspending on wars, the government programs as well. So I just want to let everybody know I'm not against social programs or social safety nets. I actually think they're very important. But the issue is how and when they were instituted. Okay, so in 1971 we were taken off the gold standard. Then in 1963? It was 1963. JFK was killed, and then Lyndon B. Johnson was his vice president, I believe, and he started welfare. Okay, so that's when it started. The dependency on the government started in the 60s, from what I can see. And what happened was they started to incentivize single-parent household. This started in the 60s, okay? From the 60s, we witnessed, and I believe it was a full-on attack, and this was the destruction of the black family. When I look at the black community today, I am truly embarrassed. I am truly embarrassed. And honestly, I'm at fault too, because I fell into the same lifestyle, but that's the lifestyle that's shown to us. That's the lifestyle that's promoted. And you can see it wreaking havoc throughout all of society, but we're specifically right now talking about the black family. So black family, I believe, was attacked first. Okay, now people might say it was white people versus black people. I'm not of that opinion. Yes, there's been racism, but I believe that this is bigger than white and black. I believe this is elites versus the normal folks. Okay, I'm not talking about millionaires. I'm talking about the highest echelon of people in regards to money. The people that, cause wars to make money. Those are elites. Okay. Let me actually put this in here. Turning of middle income workers against mid-income workers against business owners. Yes, we're going to talk about that too. I don't even know how much the time this thing is going to turn out. I have 30% battery. I just kind of wanted to test some stuff. But, so we had a destruction of the black family. It started in the late 60s, okay? Now, it was accelerated in the 80s with the crack epidemic. This overwhelmingly affected the black man in the home. During this time period, we had mass incarceration of black men. Okay, now stick with me here. I'm not even sure if there's anybody here. If you're here, say what's up down in the chat. But again, when I talk about this stuff that is of higher level of thinking and is important shit, I don't get the sticky. I'm not surprised, because it's funny. When I was a player, phone was jumping. When I became a guy who was not trying to play women, phone went dry. And this is the same experience. If I was talking about some ratchet shit, the live would be bumping. But you talk about some important shit, people blank out. It's okay. So anyway, we had the crack epidemic in the 1980s, which pretty much removed the black man from the home. Okay, now when that happened, basically our women, hate to say it, they kind of became reliant on the government. Now here's some of the things that happened, and you can see it's the worst in the black community right now, but it's coming to every community. So if you think you're white and you're getting around it, you're not, because you're being attacked right now. And I'm going to explain how you're being attacked. So you got the black man out of the home, Now, if you are a person of faith, you understand that the man is supposed to be there to lead and protect the family. Now, when the black man was taken out of the picture, you had black mothers being the only one raising the children without the headship of the father. Now, why is this important? The reason why it's so important to have the father in the home is because women are excellent nurturers. Okay, women are excellent nurturers. Women are the most important part of the whole process. We can't have children without women, and we need women, men too, but women more so. But the issue is that when there's no father in the home, women are nurtured. They nurture, and they don't do discipline or structure. Okay, that's not what women are good at. Is discipline and structure, and you can see it in society in regards to certain things like. Women's boundaries in regards to what they accept is far higher than what a man will accept. Like, for example, when you push back against a man will push back against you and against your ideology, where a woman is a lot more agreeable and they will agree with you rather than fight you, because women fight verbally, men fight physically. And that's just what it is. So if they can't win, verbally, then it's just over. That's all they can do. They can't fight you physically, so they fight verbally. What ended up happening is we had generations now in the black community of highly independent, dependent women. What does that mean? Highly independent. These women are under the illusion that they don't need men, but they depend on the government. And not all of them. There are a lot of highly successful independent women that men can't stand to be around because they're too independent. The masculinity bashes against masculinity, and men who are masculine don't like masculine women. We just don't like that. Don't want to argue with another man in the house, which is why we like women. But that essentially made hyper masculine women and independent women, but they depend on the government for subsidies and things like that to help raise the family. It's cool with the women because there's not too big of a issue with them, but the issue comes in with the men that these women raise, because men turn their sons into men, and women alone turn their sons into adults. These are highly emotional males who you can see throughout society now don't have any discipline, don't have any structure, are highly emotional. These are the men that are in jail. This is why you have such a large percentage of black men who are in jail. They were not raised by fathers. They were not in a stable household. Okay? When they were out running the streets, their mom would try and tell them to stop, but she couldn't physically force him to stop. So why would he stop? Exactly why you have an issue in regards to controlling men, because they push back. Again, women can't, they can't stop that. Like at a certain point, like if me being a 16-year-old man, my mom can't beat me up. It's physically impossible. I'm bigger, I'm stronger, and her hits don't hurt. Like that's just what it is. So again, men push back. Now, I guess before I move on to the next part, essentially what happened is we formed a dependency on the government. Now it's to the point where, our communities are so dependent, food stamps, all the social, the social benefits for being a single mother, those things are a dependence on the government. Now, it was we the people, now it's we the people for the government, because when you make people dependent on the government has, it's a necessity, okay? You need a big government at that point, right? Because people are dependent on it. They're not independent of the government. And people actually nowadays are more wanting the dependence of the government. If you heard people, man, I wish those stimulus checks would come back, right? That's dependence. They can't, you know what I mean? That's what it is, dependence. They that little bit of crack, all those, what are that oxytocin? What is it? The happy chemical in your brain that fires off when you are excited or happy. That was released when you got those stimulus checks because we didn't work for them. Okay, and people got used to that type of stuff. Now, before I move on to this next part, I gotta talk about what I was talking about. You had the crack epidemic in the 80s for the black community. For the white community, you're being attacked now. It's called the opioid epidemic. They started you with the medicines in the hospitals. Now you guys are doing heroin and crack and meth. They got you guys too. And it's causing the exact same issue. Okay? And unfortunately, it's, encouraged by, the women in my community. They, we are strong, independent women. We don't need men. The white women are on the same thing now. And we're seeing the same exact thing in the white community right now. And ultimately, in the 60s and 70s, this was also the destruction of the traditional faith-based culture we had here in America. I don't care what people say. People say America was not a Christian country. We are definitely founded on Christian principles. I understand slavery and all that stuff. I understand, but we're traditionally a Christian country. And when you have, the reason why it's so important, whether you believe in God or not, everybody was taught the same values and morals, right? Everybody, because everybody was taught from the same book. Nowadays, people, because they're not subscribing to any type of faith, they're literally winging it, okay? Like, you'll find a lot of mothers in today's societies don't want to raise their children full time because it's hard. It is. It's hard. Which is why they pass them off to the daycares and they pass them off to the schools. That's just culture today. But what it does is again, those values and morals that lead to a healthy family, a strong family, and a strong, ultimately, society are erased because people are winging it, okay? Which is why we see this craziness going on in society right now in regards to men thinking they're women and women thinking they're men, is because these women are raising these children alone and they have no boundaries. So when a doctor comes to them and says, would you rather have a dead son or a live daughter because their son's saying that they're a woman, a woman's going to be manipulated by that type of talk. That's why you need a man there to be like, no, we are going to go over here and we're going to figure this out, or whatever it is. And it is what it is. But that's just what it is. Again, women don't push back against stuff like that. Now, actually, I want to read you guys something because this is actually so interesting. No, it went up. Okay, let me see. Can I? Oh, wait a minute. Photos commented on by me. Oh no, guys, this thing just went away. Here, I gotta find it. Here, let me see. This was just absolutely incredible. Let's see. I gotta find this. I'm sorry, we need this. Saved recent, let me see. How to find a comment I made on Facebook. Okay, settings and privacy. Activity log. Comments. Here we are. Okay, this is so good. Guys. Okay, so I'm going to read you the post first, right? So it just so happened I was going to make this video. And, yeah. So it basically is an ancient knowledge. This is a random thing, and it just so happened I was getting ready to make this video, and this popped up. I read it, and I was like so interesting. And what's more interesting is the post somebody made under it. So it says, in the vast desert of ancient Egypt, Egyptian queens carved a legacy that defied the gender norms of her time, suggesting that women could not only could but should run the world. Hatshepsut, I don't know. One of the female pharaohs ruled masterfully for nearly 2 decades in the 15th century BC. Her reign was a period of prosperity and peace marked by magnificent construction of works and successful trade expositions. What stood out about whatever her name was her audacity to portray herself as a male pharaoh, thereby defying established norms and reinforcing the ideas that women could exercise supreme leadership effectively. On the other end of Egyptian history, we find Cleopatra the Seventh, legendary figure who fought to preserve Egypt's independence in a world dominated by Rome. Her political savvy and relationships with powerful leaders like Julius Caesar, Marco Antony are legendary, proving that while women can handle the threats of power, handle the threads of power with skill and determination. Yada, 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 yada. Okay. Not saying women can't rule, but Look at what this guy said under here, and I 150% agree with this and actually think about this often. It says, we're witnessing the instability created by having a large numbers of women in leadership throughout the Western world. Men didn't just take the power over their societies throughout history. Men were required to fight and die to protect the women and children from outside invaders. Sorry, I'm kind of sick, guys. The societies with the strongest men survived and thrived. Women turned to their men for leadership to protect them and honored their men for keeping them safe. It is only the last century that the sacrifices of men have made civilization so stable that our society has forgotten how dangerous the world really is. Men have stepped aside to allow women to lead. Weak men are creating hard times. When the stability of the world collapses from the weak men and women in leadership positions, women won't go do the fighting to reestablish peace. It will be the strong men who fight and die in order to bring order back. Then we'll remember why it is important to have strong men leading our societies. And then he went on to say, oh man, this guy, man, I love him. I love him. He says, look at this. And just to follow up on what he was saying, he just struck a chord with me. It says, a good chord. The rise of the size of the federal government and the bureaucracy coincides with an increase in female voters, female politicians, and single adult females. Women used to rely on men to provide and protect them. When women displaced men in the workplace and the government disincentivized the nuclear family, and I'll add, before I continue here, by adding in welfare and also incentivizing easy divorce, right? Women turned to the government to replace traditional male roles in provision and protection. None of this is by accident, and it is planned destruction of the family and a destruction of Western civilization to be placed by communist global society. I kid you not. I 150% agree with this, man. And it's crazy because this is literally, I could have just read that and not said anything else. But he's 100% correct. Man, I really wish I had more people on here because I feel like this stuff is just so crucially important, man. And this is why I also feel like we're doomed. I really feel we're doomed because nobody understands what's going on. Nobody cares and listen to that. And that's it. That's the scariest part, man. Nobody knows what's going on and people do not care, ladies and gentlemen. That is the saddest thing ever, huh? The destruction of the traditional faith-based culture. And then one of the points I had down here was the feminization of society. And I just put a couple of notes here. Loss of protectors, discipline and structure in the home, independent women produced. Let me see. The government is also made larger because single women, this is what people mean when they say women marry the government. Dependence of single mothers on the government, making the government larger. Dependence of immigrants on the government, making the government larger. Like, Caitlin, what do you mean the government larger? Guys, when the government, that is communism. When you have a massive government, that's communism. Next thing you're going to know, they're going to be like, all right, one child per family. That's what happened in China. People don't think this happens. This is real stuff that happens every day. Every day. Ask people in China. They'd have a girl and they go kill her. Bro, they would go kill her. Again, a secular society. You don't believe in God, you just kill your babies. That's what you do. Turning mid-income workers against business owners. Oh, this is so true. Basically, what they're doing right now is they're turning workers against the business owners because the average person does not understand economics, nor do they understand why the prices of things are going up. Nor do they understand how payroll works, nor do they understand how to run a business, nor do they understand how to start a business, nor do they understand how hard it is to start a business. So when people are like, this person shouldn't make this amount of money, you do it. You do it. If this person shouldn't make this amount of money, you do it. You know, so you have the business owners, they create the opportunity, okay? And then you have the employees, they choose to work where they want to work. Now, the issue we're having right now is not necessarily that the business owners aren't paying the employees enough. Because to be completely honest with you, it doesn't matter how much minimum wage is. Because if the government's going to keep spending money, inflation's going to keep rising, which means that the amount you need to be paid is going to have to keep rising. It's not the business owners or the people selling the products. It's the federal government creating inflation, which is destroying your purchasing power. And then the federal government blames the business owners. So then the employees get mad at the business owners when really it's the federal government. And then what's going to happen? The people are going to revolt against the business owners because they think it's the business owners. And then what happens is the government has to step in the place of business. This is how you end up with a country where the grocery store is federally owned. Where you live is federally owned. There's no independent owners anymore. This disincentivizes entrepreneurship and literally steals our independence because we become more and more reliant on the government. This is just what happens. And this is exactly what's happening. And people don't understand it. Now, in regards to which way I lean, I'm definitely, at this point in my life, a conservative because I've lived a very liberal lifestyle and it was very destructive. Very destructive. If I was out here, I'd probably have a lot of kids and they would not have dads. Because even a lot of liberal ideology doesn't understand why the father is important in the home. Ask these women. They don't think men are important in the home. They don't understand. They don't. And if you're a person of faith, you know the Bible. You know what happened. Who got tricked by the fucking serpent? It was the woman. You being tricked again right now. Right now. And this is crazy. This is crazy. I could probably forecast what's going to happen here. I do know quite a bit about what's going to happen. But I'm the crazy guy now, so nobody listens to me. But, you know, I don't know what to say, man. I just say this stuff, dude, because it's like, once you know and you see it, it becomes kind of scary. And then on top of that, I have a hard time talking to people nowadays because nobody knows what's going on, man. Nobody understands what's going on. But, yeah, everybody, hope you all are doing well, man. Big love, everybody. I'm going to go on and jump out of here. Hope this message meets someone. And, yeah, peace. Come on. It's a slow connection. All right, here we go.